Facebook.
All right, cool.
All right. Welcome today, Monday afternoon. We got Nate Schmidt of the Washington Capitals to sit down and talk to us about life in the NHL. So thanks again for
thanks for having me. It's the first time here. I'm excited for that.
First question, you were born in St. Cloud, Minnesota, correct?
That's right, yep.
So as a Minnesota guy, how many times have you seen the movie Miracle?
Oh, man. It's on VHS at the cabin.
Really?
So I mean, let's just say it's a lot. We're in the double digits for sure. I don't know if I could say triple digits yet.
All right, so growing up in Minnesota, hockey's obviously king in Minnesota. Minnesota has the best high school hockey in America.
Yep.
What is the atmosphere when you're that young, 15, 16 years old? I mean, what type of expectations are put on you as a Minnesota high school hockey player?
You know, I'd like to try and, it's a little bit smaller scale of Texas football, and you get an opportunity to play in front of the school and the band's playing and you're really getting fired up because I had an older brother that was like 4 or 5 years older than me, so I got to always go to the high school games when I was younger and get to watch him. So it was really special because you get there, you're playing for your school, and then we had 3 high schools in St. Cloud, so you get like a crosstown rival game too, and then the town's buzzing, students are buzzing, and it's just a lot of fun. You get a chance to play in front of the hometown fans.
Did you have some good flow back in the
day?
day?
My gosh. If we had, we can't cut to anything, but if we could, like when I was a freshman in college, I'm talking like down to my shoulders, but then you just kind of taken over a little bit here. So, yeah, try to do the cleaner look now.
So you played at the University of Minnesota for the Gophers, right?
Yep.
I went to the University of Wisconsin. So when you played the Badgers, how much sleep would you lose in that week ahead of time? Did you just sit there all night, kind of wonder like, we got to go into the Kohl Center. It's vicious. The fans are brutal.
It is loud in there. I'll give you that.
It's a good rivalry.
It's a good,
too. It's a great.
It was them in North Dakota were like our big rivals when I was in college, but it was, more for the school because the Big Ten is such a big, a big deal for our baseball and for our basketball, football team. So. It was. It's always a fun week. It's just you try not to think about it too much, otherwise you get too fired up during the week, and then you can't be that excited for 5 days. You gotta try and curb your enthusiasm. But some of my fondest memories are playing against those two teams. Yeah, it's one of those things where I scored one of the biggest goals I've ever scored, one of the coolest goals I've ever scored to win the regular season championship against Wisconsin at home. Which when I was it's hard to say, but it was awesome.
So after you're done at Minnesota, you obviously get signed by the Caps. Walk us through how that all went down. Like how did you decide the team? The Caps were the guy because you went undrafted, so you probably had a couple different teams that were interested, right?
Yeah.
So how did you decide this is where I want to be?
It was kind of like getting recruited for college hockey all over again. You sit down, you talk to teams, you're on these conference calls, which are pretty cool. But you have the opportunity to talk to a bunch of different GMs and organizations, and you kind of get to sit back and kind of take it all in. And I just, I came to the development camp here the year before I signed, and it's just a lot of familiarity, and and within the organization, they really wanted me to be a part of something that we were building here, and it was just, I felt really comfortable with them, and I thought they were upfront with me the whole time. That's my biggest thing.
So the day you signed your NHL contract, what'd you do? How'd you celebrate?
It was over. I couldn't celebrate. I left the next morning. I got the papers that night and signed them, and then over at one of our guys' houses. And then the next day, I was packed up, coming here. So
you just
like boom, right here, right here, right away. And then I was only here for about 6 hours. I was at one practice, and I went to Hershey.
And you went to Hershey to play. To play in the AHL. Yeah. So most pro athletes, they do like to splurge on at least one thing. Have you splurged on anything really cool since being in the NHL?
I got myself a car.
Okay, what type of car?
I drive a Dodge Challenger. But actually, probably the biggest one that I've done happened last year on the way home. My dad and I were driving home from here, and we're both into classic cars. And so on the way home, I'm sitting there on the on my phone, trying to find some places, and we finally found one that's like 45 minutes away from a 1971 Chevelle. And we ended up going a little bit off track here, and him and I got there and ended up getting it right there on the spot and driving it on home. So it was pretty cool. That was probably the biggest thing that I'd done. That was last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you had the option between winning the Stanley Cup or winning a gold medal, which one do you think would be more impressive?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I think obviously a gold medal is incredibly special. They don't not a lot of guys even get a chance to play for one of those, but I think the Stanley Cup is you have to be so good for so long and over such a period. You build such relationships with guys over.
Get your name on the cup.
Get your name on the cup. That's huge, and just the iconic lifting the cup over your head is so cool. We haven't had the chance to do that, but even when it's just like a part of the game that's that you just revered amongst all the players.
That's a fair answer. That's kind of what I expected. So as a younger guy, when you go out in like the DC area, do most of you guys get recognized? Obviously NBA players are like 7 feet tall. It's very easy to pick them out. But are you able to kind of mesh in with the crowd?
Fly under the radar a little bit.
If you don't want to be recognized.
For the most part, Ovi has a tough time. Let's be honest. He has a tough time going anywhere. So the same with like TJ Oshie. But for the most part, you kind of fly under the radar. But there's a odd time that you see people out there, which is it's cool. Especially when you meet some people and meet some kids. It's always fun to take some pics with the kids.
At the Daily Caller, we actually have a list of like American heroes through our point of view, and TJ Oshie's on the list.
TJ, yeah, I won't lie, he's on my list too.
So one of our fans, our fans are often like curious about like the lifestyle things, right? So how easy / difficult, I'm here with another guy from the Daily Caller, Jake. We find very easy to meet women when we're writers. I'm being sarcastic a little bit. How hard is it to meet women as a professional athlete?
Man, it's super hard. It's just one of those things that, if you're looking for it, I guess you can find it. It's tough. It's a tough question. Especially when you're out on the road and stuff like that. Sometimes you run into people because usually when we had places as a team, so we really stick out. When we had places,
especially if you're in caps.
Yeah. So you're usually with all the guys on the road. So we're always just heading around, or you kind of run into people, but. Yeah, it's it's probably harder, than being a writer. Like I'm telling you guys,
it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy when you're right? So obviously we're in the midst of like a big presidential election. In the locker room with you guys, do you guys talk about like current events, politics, anything like that, or you just kind of stick to sports in your personal life?
You know what we try to stay away from hockey, to be honest. Because we breathe it all the time. You do it all the time. But I think a lot of the guys are really interested in this, this election because this has been such a interesting campaign trail for both those two. But yeah, a lot of the guys keep up with it and then they talk. There's some discussions for sure. Sometimes it gets a little heated. Yeah, but a couple grapes are thrown every once in a while.
Do any of the players from outside the country, like the guys from Russia, whatever, do they ever get curious about why? Do they ever ask questions about like our political system?
Oh yeah, it's funny that because like Ovi the other day we were just talking about. Just like where some of the candidates stand on some things, and he was formulating his own opinion off of some of our opinions. So, but yeah, it's at least they're trying to get an opportunity to look at, hey, what are these people going through? What how do they measure up, or what's going to benefit or affect me the most? So that's kind of where they're at.
That makes sense. So take us through your game day routine.
Man.
Your alarm goes off. What time do you usually get up? You got a night game. What time are you usually up?
I'm usually up at like 8:20 because we have a 9:15 meeting in the morning. Okay. So I'm in here. Get in. I always get food. Rob's our chef, phenomenal. Always has got breakfast out for us. I'm usually a stick to the eggs and yogurt, but he's always he gets good things like French toast, out there. So some of the guys will have that, but. I'll get a good stretch in, and then we have our meeting at 9:15, which runs through everything that their team does, from PK to just systems, and then on the ice 10 or 10:15, and have our quick skate, and then you're pretty much on your own for the rest of the day until you have to be there at 5. Right. So, me, I'm more of a eat, get out of here, go take a nap, wake up, play Madden.
Okay. Hey, you gotta get in some video games. All right. When it comes to fighting, you've been known to scrap every once in a while. What does a guy have to do to you? You're like, that's it, I'm dropping the gloves. Is there like a limit, and then you're like, I just won't take this anymore? Or is it just kind of just happen?
Yeah, it usually just happens. But if I get I've gotten speared before. That's usually what triggers me. I mean, guys will chirp and trash talk, and I actually think it's funny. I usually come back with one-liners like, "I don't know where the fish are biting, man. Don't look at me." Like, and they kind of give me this weird look. But that kind of gets guys off their game. But I mean, it's kind of usually if something happens to a teammate, that's usually when guys will step in.
Right.
If somebody gets hit and someone's not on the ice to do anything, then usually they look towards. If it's a guy more my size, like Tom Wilson can't go after that guy because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. He's got to kind of fight within your weight class.
Right. It's like wrestling.
Yeah.
All right. Two more questions. If you could have a beer with any professional athlete across all sports, sit down and have a beer, who would it be?
Well, as a Vikings fan right now, I'm thinking, I'd probably say with Sam Bradford.
Sam Bradford?
But that's just as of right now, although we did get beat the other day.
You're still better than the Packers, though.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Which is great.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even a Packers fan, and I'm from Wisconsin. I can't.
You a Vikes fan?
No, I'm a Lions fan. So it's been a hard life. All right, last one. Weirdest encounter you've ever had with a fan, whether it was in college, pros. What's the strangest thing? Has anything super strange happened?
Well, it happened when I was in the minors. Someone baked me cookies. I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. And so they gave me the cookies, and they said, oh, can you please sign my baby? I was like, what? Like on a shirt?
Did you do it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Signed it right on the arm there. I was going to do what do you want me to do, right across the forehead? But that was, so I got a plate of cookies and I signed a baby. It's probably the weirdest thing that I've ever done.
That's kind of strange, there's no doubt. All right, well, thanks for everyone who came and hung out today. Thanks a lot again to Nate for sitting down with us, and we'll see you later.